All signs point to an election underway in Canada on the federal political scene. What do you think are the issues that the election's going to be fought over? And different question, very similar, but different question. What do you think are the issues that the election should be fought over? Because, look, let's be honest. There are the issues of long-standing consequence, ramification, things about the future of our nation that we really need to talk it over. I'll give you a couple ideas of those in just a moment. But we also always know that elections, not always, but often turn into things of much lesser consequence. You got the political party war rooms in the mix, and they are just obsessing over the little minutia, nuts and bolts of what this campaign literature says, and let's take this proposed public policy and totally misrepresent it and just, blow up the whole idea about it, get people focused on that. They focus on the bozo eruptions, so there's a candidate running in some riding. Even if the person won, they'd probably be a backbencher, not a big deal, but we still obsessively focus over, something they posted on Facebook a number of years ago. I mean, they love the game to be played that way, and it'll be curious to see if the various parties and all the different campaigns, press releases, advertising, if it goes along that narrative, if the media follows along, if that's what they do, or if they do manage to stick with the big picture conversations and have those conversations. I hope it's the latter, but who knows? We could always focus on the small stuff that doesn't matter. When it comes to the big picture conversations, I think there are two major ones that I really hope we can focus on here in Canada. One is, well, speaking of big picture, the past year and a half, it's kind of been the wildest times for most people in their life, assuming they haven't, gone abroad to participate in armed conflict, or, much older Canadians who were around for World War II. But what we've seen in this pandemic here, the laws that we've had on the books, people calling the cops on their neighbors just because they had their aunt and uncle over for dinner at a certain point when that was against the law and so forth, and very divided. I mean, a lot of Canadians deeply divided still today. This debate over domestic vaccine passports, I mean, it is so divisive, and the things that people want to see happen in society moving forward compared to what other people want to see happen. I mean, it doesn't bode well for the nation right now. So what does this all call out for? That calls out for leadership, someone to chart a path forward and talk about these big issues. Where do we go from here when it comes to the pandemic? How do we rally the nation? How do we unify in perspective? Not just exploiting the differences, but really lead us out of this. Go from strength to strength. I mean, pick up on the momentum and get something positive for the prosperity and the well-being of all Canadians, rather than just, trying to mire in fears of subsequent lockdowns and, the vaccine passport stuff. It's just such an awful divisive conversation. That's what we need leaders to lead on. Another issue, related issue, of course, what to do with Canada and China, the relationship with that rising global superpower, none other than President Joe Biden at a G7 recently, sitting down with the other world leaders, Trudeau among them, and saying, come on guys, we gotta get on the same page, we gotta get tougher on China. And of course, China recently saying to the WHO, no second probe on the origins of COVID-19, we don't need that, we don't want to be a part of it. That is unacceptable, because this most traumatic of time that we have had, this past year and a half, China very much involved in the origins of that. To what degree, still unknown. That's what the WHO wants to find out. Previous polling showing that Canadians are less and less supportive of China. I mean, it's a small percentage. It's like less than 15% now have a positive outlook on China. And we got to forge a path forward, a positive path forward on that. We really need leadership, because there's so many connections between Canada and China in many respects, in positive ways, in terms of all of these great dissidents coming from China, living in Canada, really contributing to our society. Absolutely fantastic scenario going on there, and we need to welcome more people, more dissidents from China, anyone from Hong Kong who wants to come, from Taiwan and so forth. I mean, lots of good stuff on that front. And then when it comes to distancing ourselves from the Chinese Communist Party having its tentacles in Canada in so many respects, that's also where we need leadership on. So two big picture conversations. Where to go next with COVID-19 discussion, unifying way, not divisive way, and then of course dealing with the China file, how to get that relationship right in not just the years, but the decades ahead. Will those be big picture conversations in the election? I hope so. I hope we're not just focused on debating people's dumb tweets.